Welcome everybody to our Amud Yomi Shiur here in Avos Shalom. Welcome to people here in Avos Shalom, people in Torah Anytime, our YouTube channel and Kol Lashon. We are about to start an Amud Gemara like we do every day from Sunday to Thursday. You're welcome to join us here in Avos Shalom in Bet Shemesh or online, wherever you are all over the world. We're actually in the middle of a page now. That's Bava Metzia Kuf Vav Amud Aleph. We are in the line Mesivi Hoiso Shnas Shidofoin. If you count from the narrow lines, it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 8 or so lines from the last narrow line. Mesivi Hoiso. The line starts with the word Hoisa Haita Shnat Shnat Shidafon. However, we have a serious hole to fill in. We have serious business, unfinished business from the previous sugya. There was a point which wasn't clear to me, and then Baruch Hashem, I read it again. It was clear, and this is what it's about. Now, we are talking here about a field. The sugya, the topic here is a field who's been nechkar, which means it's been leased to a person who works in the field. He's called a choicher. That choicher, what does he do? He always has to give, every year, he has to pay the balabais, the owner, a set amount of fruit. Sometimes it's money, but the regular agreement is fruit, regardless of how much he makes. Whether 1 year, Baruch Hashem, the field yielded, I don't know, hundreds of tons and gallons, whatever, billions, he still has to give the set amount, let's say 100 tons a year. I don't know. If it made 50 tons, he still has to give 100 tons. Where will he get the other 50 tons from? That's his problem. He has to give a set amount, like a person renting a house, regardless of his financial situation, has to pay the set rent, right, to the balabais, praying that he won't raise the price, right? So that is the choichel. The Mishnah dealt with the case of a person, a chochil, who has unfortunately, something happened in the field, there was a catastrophe, there was a disaster, locust attacked the field, or I don't know, there was a big flood, or wind came and just blew all the grains away. So then we said, depends. If this is something which is a Makas Medina, what's Makas Medina? Original problem, not original, a regional, of the region of the area. The entire area has been struck by whatever that is, was plagued by something. Then we say it's not his fault, poor man. It's not his fault, and there is no, he should have known it, he could have known it, no way you could have evaded it, and therefore what? He doesn't have to pay. We give him dispensation. He doesn't have to give. Masha'en can, if it only hit his own field and no other fields in the area, only particular his one field was affected and nobody else's was, then we say mazolcha goram. It's your bad luck, and luck we believe comes from Shamayim. You have your own issues with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Rosh Hashanah coming soon. What a beautiful Gemara to learn. In 3 weeks' time, Hashem will judge us. What kind of parnasa we're going to have? It's your issue. You're working in my field, and you probably, look, no other field was affected. The locust, you can ask why, it's a good question. The locust came, and they made a beeline, a locust line, to your field, and no other field. Excuse me, it's your doing in a way. And therefore, in that case, Mr. Chochil would still have to pay the balabais. That's a general rule. That's before we even started the question. So far, so good, I hope. Now comes the following question. The square in this diagram, this is a field owned by Mr. Square Guy, Squarehead, Reuven, and the circle symbolizes the worker. These are fields owned by the worker. He has his own fields. These are fields, the square owned by the owner. Now, the Gemara asks the following question, and I'm saying this Balpeh. I'm reviewing what we've seen before, but now Baruch Hashem got pshat. What happens if the field, was affected, badly affected, was inflicted, okay, and now all the fields all around it are doing great. They're doing great. You can't see it online. There's a green marker all over. It's all doing great. Only r/your field, says the owner to the worker, how come only this field of mine was affected, no other field? But you know what happened? The other fields of the owner were also badly affected. All the other fields of the owner were affected badly. They also have locusts. They are somewhere else. They're not in the area. They're in a different area. So now there's a question. Can the Balabai say to the Mr. Worker, look, only your field in this area, only the field you were working in was affected. It's not Makas Medina. Or maybe the worker can tell the owner, no, it's your bad luck. Look, all your fields in a different place, in I don't know, in Brazil, in Argentina, in a different place, they were affected badly, and so is this one in Israel. So maybe it's your din ra and Rosh Hashanah, it's your bad mazel. That's a question. How do you look at it? Says the Gemara. Oh, here that's where I went wrong. I have to admit. Sometimes, not always, a person has a hanhoga from Hashem. We're going to see all kinds of hanhogos that Kodesh Baruch Hu leads the world. Sometimes the Kodesh Baruch Hu leads the world with the hanhoga of rachamim bedin. It's good to learn this before Rosh Hashanah. And really, not all my fields would have died. How do you know that all my fields would have died? This field died. Maybe 90% of my fields had the Gzera Hara, but this field is bad because of you. These fields are not taken care of by you, and this one does. So that's the odd one out here too. Regarding the region, yeah, that's the only one affected badly. All the others are doing great. Regarding my fields, I don't know. But Lamaisa, I could tell you, I'm sorry, mister. My other fields that are tended by Reuven, Shimon, Levi, they're doing bad. True. Yeah, they're doing bad, but maybe because of Kodesh Baruch Hu decided to punish me 80-90%. This field may be affected because of your bad influence over there, your bad mazel. And because of that, I will still demand that you pay me. That's what the Gemara says, because you have to prove that I have 100% bad gezerah. That's case number one, and that we understood. Now, what about the opposite case? What about the opposite case? Let's say all fields are doing bad. All fields are doing bad over here. All the fields in the area are doing bad. So it is not the Makas Medina. All fields are doing bad in the area of the field, including our field owned by Mr. Square and tended to by Mr. Circle, right? So all fields are doing bad. Yeah. On the other hand, so you can say, oh, it's not my fault, says Mr. Worker. Look at the Mishnah in Bava Metzia. You didn't go to Cheder? Look, all the fields in the area, that's Makas Medina. But then Mr. Owner finds out that the Choicher's fields far away, his fields in, I don't know, in Tennessee, in Minnesota, in those places, yeah, his fields are all doing bad too. So then Balbaz can tell him, no, it's your fault. You're telling me it's Makas Medina? Over there was no Makas Medina. In those places, it's your fields. Oh, it must be 100% of your fields were badly affected, says the owner to the worker. Although it's not your field, it's the field you're working in. But you see, you had a bad year. Look at all your fields. Frag the Gemara screaming, hey, what's the difference? Why can't the worker say exactly the same thing to the owner? By the way, these are two separate cases, of course, yeah? In the first case, we say, I'm sorry. In the first case, we said to who? To the worker, no. Hashem was not so, I shouldn't say Hashem bad, wasn't so midas adin with me. 90% were affected. This wouldn't have been killed. It's only because of you. Why can't the worker say the same thing to him? Why can't the worker say, no, all my fields would have been doing great. I got a 90% Gzera raw, not 100%. So all my fields are affected badly, says, but this is only because it's yours. The answer is very simple. That's where we got wrong. Hashem doesn't always leave you 10%, 5%. Sometimes the Kodesh Baruch Hu takes away all the money, chas v'shalom, all the children, all the simcha, chalila. Now, this is a very, very clear difference. You're telling me you didn't have 100% Gzera? Of course you did. This field doesn't belong to you, Mr. Worker. So I know that 100% of your fields died, affected. You're saying that the field that belongs to me, but you work in, is your sheris apleta? Is what's left over for you? Doesn't make sense. Again, let's accentuate the difference. When all the fields of the owner were affected, and this one is a question mark, but obviously belonging to the owner, to Mr. Square, we say Avada, Mr. Square can at least say 50% that this is like a variable in a math formula. It's an X. I don't know. Maybe it happened because of me, maybe because of you. You're saying all my fields? No, maybe only 90% of my fields were about to be killed, and this is your bad luck. The Haraya, all the other fields are doing great in the first case. So it's you. In the case of question mark, give me the money. You're trying to Masha'en can. In the second case, no. In the second case, who is the one that's been affected 100%? The who? The worker. These are 100% fields of the worker. That field does not belong to the worker. You can't say Hashem was only dealt with me 90% gzer, not 100%. There was 100%. Look, all your fields. Yeah, mashma, you're doing so bad this year. This field you're working in, especially since all other fields are, yeah, what I can say that this field is doing bad because of you, because 100% of the fields owned by you were affected. That's 110%, Kilu. That's a field in which you're working in. Mimela, that field too, I can say, is affected because of you, not because of me, and therefore pay up. Lemaisa, the worker's always losing. This is not socialist, but if you delve into the depth here, and I don't have much time now because I would like to get to the next Mishnah, but this is pshat of the previous year. The difference is clear. In the first case, not all the fields owned by the bad luck guy were affected. This field was, but maybe because of you. Mashenkin here, 1,000,000% that all 100% fields were affected, of the worker. All these fields were affected badly. You want to now allege it to what? To tell me Hashem was kind to me and only hit me 90%? No. Hashem would have left you one of your fields, not the field you're working in. That's what the Gemara says, and this is pshat. Questions about that are welcome at 10:25, because this is really from the previous year. And as of now, Birshuschem will continue into, even this is Chazorah. What we're about to do now is also Chazorah, by the way, but that I have a bit of Rachmanus because it's the middle of an Inyan, middle of a topic. Meisivi. Now we are in Meisivi, Hoisosh Nashidofoin. If you remember, there was a Machloikis in the previous Amud. The Machloikis was what? How far does Makas Medina go? Remember? There was one opinion saying that Makas Medina means the entire plain, the entire area where all the fields are. And the second opinion was the 4 fields around the affected field, right? That's called Makas Medina. Nobody claimed that Makas Medina has to be something like, the whole world or the whole country. Makas Medina means as long as the Chochi can prove, look, there are 4 fields all around me, including mine. All have locust, we let him off the hook. According to the first opinion, is what we said that it has to be the whole plain. Yeah, that was the Machlokas between Rav Yehuda and Ula. Okay, nobody spoke about Makas Medina having to be the whole country, definitely not the whole world. And on that we have a question, Meisivi. And this has to do with what? Remember, the next sugya, we're going to compare the sugya to the sugya of what? Of a person who wants to buy and sell a field in Eretz Yisrael in times of when the Yovel is noig. Right? You buy a field, you sell a field. After 2 years, the field has to stay in the hands of the buyer. You're not allowed to redeem it back. After those 2 years are up, then what are you supposed to do? It's better and it's nicer if you redeem it. If you have money to redeem the field, buy it back from the buyer, so it should go back to the original family. These are Sdei Achuza from the forefathers. Then the new buyer is supposed to give it to you even if he doesn't want to. You call the police otherwise. Yeah, take him to BSD. After 2 years, you can force him to get it back to you. And really, how much does he pay? And if that doesn't happen, what's going to happen? In the Yovel, eventually it's going to go back to the family. Whether you pay, then you don't have to pay anymore. It goes for free. Okay, that's the Doraisa. These are just before Shapsukim at the end of Chumash Vayikra. Meisivi. Let's say one of the first 2 years in which you're supposed to leave the land in the hands of the buyer, these are supposed to be agricultural years, and it makes sense. We want to give the person, the buyer, a chance. He bought. Just because he lives in Eretz Yisrael, we have our rules of Nachla and Achuza, misken. Give him some chance to at least have 1 full cycle, or 2, 1.5. There's a shaila. Give him some time to, enjoy the field and invest. Have 1 full cycle, 2 years, enjoy life, and then he'll give you back the field. What happens if at least one of those years was a year in which you could not reap because it was a year of what? Strong wind blowing and blowing away the what's the names, the grains, the Irokoin stam, drought, dryness, everything dried up. It was too sunny, there was no rain, there was drought. Oshvis, Shemitah. Shemitah is very nice. You can't work. Oisha Yushanim Kishne Eliyahu, or there were years like the years of Eliyahu Novi. In the Eliyahu Novi times, what happened then? Achav, not only was Ovid of the Zara, he was quite cheeky and audacious, and he spoke against Hashem, and he said, look, I'm Ovid of the Zara, and nothing's happening to me. That's not what Moshe Rabbeinu said. He didn't even say Hashem said that. There was a taste of kfira there. He said, it's not what Moses said in the Torah. So then Eliyahu told him, B'Shem Hashem, wait and see. Ooh, cool stuff is coming, yeah? And then what? There were years of no food all over the place. It was terrible famine all over the world, all over the country, all over Eretz Israel. If such a year occurs, if such a year happens to be, yeah, one of the first 2 years after the purchase happens to be a year in which one cannot work the field, either because of a catastrophe or because of lahavdil halacha of Shemitah, or there is complete drought, famine like Eliyahu Novi, and there's a message here about Eliyahu Novi, those years are not counted. You can't say after 2 years, oh, give it back to me. You could have worked the field. I couldn't work the field. No. There was Shemitah, there was drought, there was catastrophe, there was problems. Give me 2 real years in which I can work the field, right? So if one of those 2 years, definitely 2, you have to start counting after that year. That's a Shemitah. You start counting the first and second years of the new cycle, like this year now. Yeah. Then you have 2 normal good years. After that, the field goes back to the original owner. But the Gemara now is Medayek. Tani, and this is from the Mishnah there. Shidofan ve'Yirokon, Dumya Deshonim Kishne Eliyahu. You see that Shidofan ve'Yirokon, those disasters, those agricultural disasters, are compared to what? To the years of Eliyahu Novi. Mashne Eliyahu de lo havitvua klal, just like with the times of Eliyahu Novi, there was no tvua, no produce, no grains at all in the entire country of Eretz Israel, at least in the region where Achav was ruling in Shomron, all over Malchus Israel, there was just no food, yeah. Avhochanami de lo havitvua klal. So too, in the years of the Shidofan ve'Yirokon, the catastrophe, the effect that now the grains are just not there, yeah, they're gone because of the wind or something, also must be that there's no tvua all over the country. Aval hecha deika tvua salkale. Let's say in this field or these 4 fields, 5, 10 fields, in one bika, if in one plain, one area of, let's say, 10 fields or 4 fields, according to the other one, if they don't have tvua, but all the other fields are lush and beautiful and green, then we say that those 2 years are considered as years of agriculture, even though this particular field suffered. It's a big chiddush, and he couldn't do the field. We say no. We don't say it's a makas medina. Oh, I told it's going to go against logic, because again, the logic of the Torah is not our logic. The Torah tells us that it has to be shnei tvuos, as the Gemara is going to say itself. In other words, the Gemara in the Havamina thinks, it's not my fault, says the seller who wants to redeem it back. I want it back after 2 years. You couldn't work it. It's your bad mazel. Your bad mazel. It worked great by me. It works great by other people. Look, only if it's makas medina of the whole country, the entire state of Shomron, of Achav, the whole place is dry. Oh, then I agree. But if it's your bad luck, it's your problem. Similar to the Oris, meaning you, the buyer, it's your issue. Yeah. Oh, but we see that the makas medina versus the individual versus the global, the scope is different. We, by us, both by Ula and Rav Yehuda, we speak about makas medina. What's medina? 4 fields, 5 fields, 10 fields. Here we see no. Here we see that the standard of makas medina all over the country. That's a problem. What's called makas medina? You are Miroim. You can't argue with the Mishnah that says makas medina has to be like Eliyahu Novi all over the place. Or Eliyahu Novi had to run far away. What? Omav Nachman Bar Yitzchak Shani Hosam Rak Rega. There it's different. There's exercise also there. The Omar Kro, the Pasuk says, "B'mispar shnei tvuos imocher lecho." Shtonim shesh ben tvua ba'olam. First wide line, which means over there the Torah gave you standards. Our halacha is not doraisa; it's the rabbanon. It's a choshen mishpat. Halacha over there is doraisa. The Torah there prescribed. The Torah gave you standards over there. במספר שני תבואות מוכר לכו. He has to sell you the field according to shnei tvuot. Years of what? Years of tvua. Year of produce, year of series of grains, of yielding, meaning years in which there is tvua in the world. As long as the year is called a year not of drought, which means, let's say you read the newspaper, you see the website at the end of 2023 or Lahavdil, the end of Tafshin Pei Gimel, you know, they talk about what was this year. If 4 fields, that's actually a good example. If that's 4 fields or 10 fields were affected by some locust or by dry spell, the newspaper, the Time magazine is not going to say there was a dry year globally. No, it wasn't a dry year. For Reuven, Shimon, Levi, and Mackenzie, it was a dry year for those 4 fields, for those 10 fields. That's what the Torah says, Lahavdil. Misper Shnei Tvuas means as long as it's a year of Tvua, not a year of drought, not a year of locust, which means that many people in the world had what to eat, it's called a good year. This field with 4 fields around it, 10 fields around it, it's still called Shnei Tvuos. It's a year of Tvua. You happen to be that had the bad luck to not have Tvua in your little area, in your little shtetl there, the 4 fields or 10 fields around you. I don't know, the Bika. No, that's not called Shnei Tvuos. That's over there. Because there the Torah is exerts a cost of Shnei Tvuos. As long as some people in the world have food, it's called Shnei Tvuah. Even though you and your 4 little people in the village around your neighbors didn't have, it's still called Shnei Tvuah. But Shenken by us, but the Chochir, it's not the same thing. There's no psukim here to describe the agreement between the Chochir and the thing and the owner. So we rely on Das Bnei Adam. Das Bnei Adam? Das Bnei Adam is Machlokes Amoraim. Some Amoraim would say it's 4 fields. It's already called global enough. And some say the entire Bikar of Yehuda is called global enough. Adkan. Okay, question time. A little bit of question, a window of questions. Yeah. So now the Gemara says, oh, very good. Let's summarize a little. Let's get it straight. Again, when it comes to selling a field and having to allow, you have to allow the person to work the field for 2 years, right? Unless it's a drought year, that means he should give it back to you after 2 years, unless there was a global thing of what? Of drought, of catastrophe that nobody could work. But if it was just his issue, or even his and his 4 neighbors or 10 neighbors, the whole plain, it's still called individual and not Makas Medina, right? And let's leave Chocher alone. Chocher is different. According to what you're saying now, Shvis, wait, Shmita, why is Shmita in this story? Last time I checked, if I'm not mistaken, if you live in Colorado, China, Chile, wherever you live outside Eretz Israel, you don't have to keep Shemitah. And if you said global, you know, we're talking about the Torah, talking about the whole world, Lahavdil, like the international magazine, that was a year of global drought. Wait, Shvis should be what? Part of the minyan. You couldn't work the field, you live in Eretz Israel. Well, the whole rule applies in Eretz Israel. So Shvis, you should say, look, people in England, people in France, people in South Africa, they plow their fields very nicely. They work the fields, right? And it's not global, right? You said you need the whole world to be not working. So you need to have an international Shvis, and there is no such thing. And the Gemara continues, there's grains growing by very frum Jews in Chutz La'aretz, and it's all great. He comes with a big yesoid, which appears a few times in Shas. Shvis, afkosa de malkahi. Shvis is something that the Melech Malcha Amlochim HaKadosh Baruch Hu was mafkia. In other words, Shvis, drought, is something that happens. It's also from Hashem. Drought is circumstances. So we say, as long as the circumstances are only in Eretz Yisrael and not in Chutz La'aretz, we say, hey, it's really a good year. It's our bad luck. But Shemitah is something that the HaKadosh Baruch Hu said we shouldn't work the field. It's ke'ilu, there is no, look at Rashi's beautiful lashon. I have to quote Rashi here. Rashi says, of Kasa de Malka, he says, Hamelech bitlo milazoira, the king canceled it from being zoya. V'rei k'moi she'ena. There's no tvua. Even if people, let's say, do grow tvua in Eretz Yisrael, Chiloni people, Aleinu, some of them, it's as if it's not there. Like Yisrael, no. If a Zohar worth 1,000,000 shekel, is worth what? 0 halachically. Halachically, there's no tvua. And he says, the same Torah that says a year of tvua, right? A year of tvua says Shemitah, there is no tvua. regardless of the reality. It's halacha. Halacha is more important than reality. Since halacha, no question. Yeah, halachically, there is no tvua here. There is no tvua. You see the tvua growing up at the kibbutz, but the chilonim, it's still not there. Because the Kosh Baruch Hu said it's ois shnas tvua. It's not called halachically, and halach is the real reality. It's not called a year of yielding, a year of produce. And therefore, I don't care about the reality in Chutz La'aretz. Who cares? Shenken drought is reality, not by Torah, is reality decided by fact. Oh, now we have to gauge and say, wait, if in Eretz Yisrael there is no food, there is no thing, but in other places in the world, oh, maybe that is called Shnaz Tvua. Look, in Jordan, in Lebanon, they have nice Tvua, only here they don't. Must be Jewish people. Hashem is angry with us. It's a particular problem of us, and therefore the person, the seller, can tell the buyer, give me back the field after 2 years, even though we had a bad year here in this area in the entire Eretz Yisrael. Omale, is it really urgent and quick? Very good. Yofi. So you don't. No, so you don't. You don't count. Exactly. That's why he has to wait another year. No, because the chutzarts there is shmita. Because the chutzarts are fruit. Because you said global, shmita is not global. That was the question. The answer is go by halacha. Omer leMarzutra beder of Mari leRavina. Marzutra, the son of Mari, now asked Ravina. Ela me'ata. Oh, now let's go back to another area, another fact to do with the same halacha. What happens after 2 years? Let's say you sold the field. Now we're not talking about, let's say you sold the field. I'm giving a small introduction here. We said already, you sold the field, give me a nice round number that has 50 in it. You sold the field for $50 million. $50 million. What's going to happen then? You sell the $50 million and you know in 49 years it's going to go back to you, right? So what do? Every year is worth what? 1 million plus 49th of a million. 50 for 49. The Gemara talks about it. Okay? So after, let's say 1 million to make it simple for people like me. Yeah. Oh, you sold it for $49 million to make it simple. Not exactly what the Gemara says. So every year is worth $1 million. After 20 years, let's after 20 years, oh, you got a good job now. You sold the field. Now you have more money. So 20 years passed already, right? Let's do 21 years, and soon you'll know why I'm saying it. Let's say 21 years went by already. So now the owner comes and tells you, no, I want 49. What? 49? No. 21 million you already used up. How much is 49 minus 21? However much that is. 28, of course, yeah. 28. So you come with 28 and you give him 28 million and you get the field. What about the other 21? You used it already. Wait a second. Those 21 years, let's say the first year was the first year of the cycle of Shemitah. How many Shemitahs are there in 21 years? I know 3, that even I know. So you, Mr. Poide, you want to redeem back the field from the buyer. You say, you already used it for 21 years. Something here doesn't work right? Because I think during Shemitah, it didn't work there. Frek the Gemara. Oh, no. Before we even say that, that's even worse. When it comes between people, it depends on their agreements, what they say, what they agree. However, if somebody's makdish de'achuza, if somebody actually has a field that he dedicated to Beis HaMikdash, there's a set amount. Nobody is asking you how much. Whether the field, the Rambam says, whether the field is worth millions or worth very little, there's always a set amount of how much the person should pay for the field. That's 49 dinar and pundion per year. Yeah, 49 shekel, whatever. Shekel of the Torah is really sela, actually. It's more than dinar. The kids are the most expensive, almost the most expensive currency, which is the biblical shekel, which is the Talmudical sela. Do you know that? When the Torah says shekel, it means what we call sela, which is the highest currency, 4 dinarim. The shekel of the Gemara is half a sela and 2 dinars. Yeah, the shekel of the Torah, the kids, you have to give him a nice sela per year, and that's a set amount. And the Torah says, if you now go to Beis HaMikdash and you say, I want to redeem the field, yeah, I dedicated the field to Beis HaMikdash. What do they have to do with the field? They need cash, right? I want to now give cash to Beis HaMikdash, get my field back. What do? It's a set amount of what? Of a dinar plus per year. Okay, it's kilo set amount to 50 dinarim, regardless of the amount. And what does it say? Elamata. Now, according to what you told me, that Shemitah is considered to be out. It's nothing, even if nothing grows, even in Chutzat, we don't care. Hashem was mafkia, he tore apart kilo, all the wheat and barley from the field. Shvis lo ta'alo min gerua. Shvis, the gerua means what you deduct. When you come and deal with hekdesh or a regular secular thing, yeah, and you want to get your what? You want to get your field back. What did we say? Let's say 21 years passed. You kilo say, 21 years were used by hekdesh, were used by the other person. Why? That's wrong. Alamat nan. What does it say in the Mishnah? Noisen sela upundion loshono. I told you before, sela 50. Let's say I dedicated the field to Beis Hamikdash, and I know it's going back in Yovel, right? I have to give a sela and pundion per year. What do you mean a sela and pundion? Which means for 50 years, I give 49 sloim plus a pundion. A pundion is a 50th of the sela. Yeah, in other words, 49 plus a little bit for the 50th year. In any event, why do we bichlal give per year? We should deduct the shmitos. Let's say after 21 years, I shouldn't say, you used it for 21 years. No, he used it for how much? 21 minus 3. That's 18. Yeah. So yeah, Elmar Le. So it does make sense. Make up your mind. You consider Shemitah as an agricultural year, or don't you? When it comes to the first years, you say, no. Shemitah is not an arable year. Yeah, it's not a year when you can work. So therefore, give him another year of grace. And when it comes to paying back, you say, you used it. Wow, what's the difference? Do you call Shemitah a year where the field is usable, or don't you call it a year that's usable? In the first 2 years, you say, no, it's not. When it comes to counting back what he already used it, you say, he used it during Shemitah. What do you mean? Omarle, he answers, Shani Hosam the Chazel Mishtecha Bapiri. He can use it not for agriculture. You know what you can do during Shemitah with your field? Says the Gemara, you can take and Shoteach Peres, you can use it as an empty space to actually just spread out the fruit. I think jumping castles are better. Take jumping castles, kiddie pool, do something else with the field. What are we talking about? When it comes to using it agriculturally, there was a pasuk, Shnei Tvuos. What's Tvua in English? Crops, yield, grain, cereal. That's Tvua. When it comes to the 2 years the Torah is particular, you can only take it back from him, and you should leave it by him for 2 years, and those years have to be agricultural years. Tvua is agriculture, stuff growing, golden, beautiful wheat. Mimela, you can't tell him you could have used it to just, put a jumping castle and get all the moshav to jump around and take $1 million. No, you can't say that. Mashenkin, the other pasuk, didn't say that. The pasuk about when I get it back after the 2 years and you start deducting and playing around with the cheshbonos of 49 divided to however much you, no, that pasuk of Tvus is not mentioned. So you had the field. You know how many things you can do with the empty space? We can sit there for 2 hours and, you can build a lot of things in 1 year. Yeah. I don't know, kiddie park, jumping castles, lemishtach bapiri. You could have used it. It doesn't say agricultural usage in that pasuk. It says usage. Mimela there, the Shemitah is considered as a year that he actually used. It was under your ownership. Do whatever you want with it, except for agriculture. Lots of other things. Get a pool. Some people, they rent out pools. They make a lot of money. Seriously. They make money from renting out a kiddie pool. So do that. Yes, quick questions now. I just want to point out, according to what Baruch was asking, it's very good. The Gemara Dafka had to speak about hekdesh, not regular sale. The regular sale, you can say, let's play around and, I'll charge more for the non-Shemitah years and then do the Shemitah with Avlo. People do these games. But hekdesh says, Mefurish, every year is worth a sale on pundion. 1 per year. Nice and cruel. So you see that Shemitah is worth selling pundion. Very good. And the answer is because you could have done other things there, such as spreading out fruit or putting hammocks between the trees. Yes. Omar Shmuel. Now we're back to the Oris and the Chochir. We're done with selling land in Eretz Yisrael. Yeah, it says one should try not to sell a piece of land he has in Eretz Yisrael. Now we're going back to the Chochir. Omar Shmuel. Lo Ishonu. We can only say that the Chochir gets off the hook. When did we say gets off the hook? Makas Medina. The locust came and ate, either all the fields around him, the whole bika, including him, poor man. What do you want me to pay with? It wasn't my fault. It wasn't even my bad luck or my bad mazel. Hashem has nothing against me in person. Everyone else were, also punished, and therefore I don't have to pay. Let's say, it's only true that he gets off the hook if he tried. What did your teacher tell you in school? You have to try. Yeah, he planted, somcha, he really yielded nice, crops, wheat, barley, quinoa, I don't know, rice, and the chagav came, the locust came and ate it. Avaloi zoro klal, let's say he already gave up and he wasn't zorea. Yeah, he said, listen, I can see drought was coming. I know what I'm doing. Why should I waste my energy? I know that everyone else's fields were doing bad. I saw the meteorology thing, and I could see already that it's not going to work. So I gave up right from the start. Before it even started, I gave up. Then, loy, no. Then we say, you have to pay me, you defeatist. Why? Says the owner to the chochir. Why? It wouldn't have grown statistically. The Omalei, the balabais, can tell the chochir, ilu zoraso, maybe if you are zorea, have a mikayim be, maybe that hanhogo, that posuk which describes one of Hashem's hanhogos, leader, where he leads the world, lo yevoishu be'esro u'bemei ravon yisbo. Sometimes Hashem is the hanhogo. Remember we spoke before about the person who is always so dear in the eyes of Hashem that Hashem doesn't afflict him completely, only 90%. There's another hanhogo. Sometimes there are people who have protection of the Kodesh Baruch Hu. They will not be ashamed in the time of Ra. U'bemei ravon yisbo. Unbelievable. In the times where everybody else is hungry, famine in the land, Yisbo, they're Savea. I don't want to start now, but Rav Pinkus again, very strong on Rosh Hashanah, says, Rosh Hashanah, Hashem decides unbelievable things. The Talmidei Yeshiva in the Mir Yeshiva, we all know the story. We're not going to go to the story, right? The fled from Europe all the way to China, Japan, China, the whole story over there. Yeah. And at some point, before the board of the famous train, they had to get to the train station, in Russia to go all the way to the Trans-Siberian train. So they were in buses, which was fancy enough. Everyone around them, all over Europe, was starving for different reasons, also in communist Russia. And they were, because they got special treatment by the Japanese consulate, they're kilu under the, the umbrella of Japan, I think then. So they had oranges. Now, my own mother told me an orange before there was very, very, very expensive. In Europe, an orange is more expensive than pineapple in Israel. And they were all eating oranges like that, sitting in the bus eating oranges while everyone around them was starving outside the bus. Why? Because Baruch Hu decided that they will starve and they will live. Sometimes as Hanaga, Hashem wants particular people to be super wealthy and healthy while everyone else is starving. I hope, they divulge but that's the way it was. So now the Balbais can tell the Oris, excuse me, Mr. Oris, Mr. Chochil, why did you decide right from the start? Give it a try. Maybe Hashem will be nicer to me and to my field more than everybody else. He didn't even try. So now pay me. Now, Mesiv Rav Sheshes comes Rav Sheshes and asks the following question. That reminds us of we learned around Daf Tzaddik Gimel Amud Beis. It was, Mesiv Rav Sheshes. Now we're going back to the Shoimrim and see how the two sugyas merge very nicely. Roye, what's a Roye? Shomer, what's a Roye? Remind me in English. Roye is a shepherd. The Shomer? Socho. A Roye is a Shomer Socho. Roye Shoy Roye. The Roye was shepherding, was babysitting, was sheep sitting, dealing with a sheep. Veniach Edroy, he left behind the Eder, he left the sheep, the flock behind. Ubala he went to town and he left them neglected, uncared for. Now, in the Havamina, we think he just wanted to go to the bar. He just wanted, the maskon of the Gemara there, he was scared. He knew that lion or wolf are coming. Reb Zev, Reb Aryeh were coming, so he was scared of that, so he went to town for a reason. Let's say. The wolf or the Ari, Reb Zev, Reb Aryeh, scary people. No, I'm joking. Those animals, the wolf and the lion, they came and they really had very nice lunch from what? Those sheep. So what do we say? Does he have to pay or doesn't he have to pay? En oimrim ilu hoyo shom hoyo matzil. We don't say, hey, you neglected it right from the start. Why were you so scared? You heard the roaring. You could have called Hatzala. You could have called Roim International. Call your friends to come along. So now, listen, we deal with you assuming that had you been there, you could have saved the day. You could have got your friends, hit the zev with sticks, and manage. We don't say that, meaning we don't assume that surely he would be able to fight the lion or fight the zev. No, even by himself. We don't assume that by himself alone, without his friends, he surely could have managed with it, yeah, and therefore he has to pay. Mapitom, who says one man can fight a lion or a zev? Mapitom, ela. What do? We're being logical, as you say, logical. Oimdin oisa. We assess the guy. We assess the man, the roya. We assess the lion, and we now play, assessment and say, listen, im yochol lahatzil chayev. If the roya is, 2 meters, Jabba, a very strong guy, muscle man, maybe with a gun, and the lion is a little cutesy cubby from a Disney film, and the guy is a big guy, he could have saved, then he has to pay. I'm sorry. He went to town, he got scared too early. A guy like you, a guy Azoi, with a tiny cutesy Zev, he could have saved. Therefore, you chayev, you have to pay. Bimlav, potu. If it's a regular roya, Yeshiva Bocher and Ben Azmanim, and it's a big lion, then he's potur. Wait, okay, that so far makes sense, right? We're not going to close, but we're not going down to the sugi again. But lamaisa, we're being logical. Nachon. In other words, we said he ran away is not nice, good. Don't be. But lamaisa, we assess what would have been. We saw the lion. There are cameras, seeing the lion, the big lion. The guy's a small guy. He's potur. Wait, damai, why? If you say my field would have been saved, although all other fields were not saved, and that's a taina, a person can say, maybe by me, I would have been miraculously saved by Hashem, and only my field would have been saved while all other fields died, by famine. Name alay, why can't he say over there too? Why can't he use the same logic over there? Name alay, let the Baal Abais, the owner of the sheep, tell the sheep sitter, the shepherd, maybe if you were there, have a Mekayim be, maybe Hashem would apply to me and my sheep the anhaga of David HaMelech. David HaMelech said, I managed to smite the David HaMelech miraculously was one not very strong person. He managed to smite, to hit Ari, the dove. What's dove? Bear. Bear is a very vicious animal. All Americans know. Yeah. So Lamaisa, you see, why, if you believe that, you should have done your best. In other words, the common denominator is, if you believe that an owner can tell a worker, you should have fought till the end, because maybe my house or my field or my animals, my sheep, would have had a better anhaga, because we see psukim in the Torah here about tefillah, here about some very mighty, maybe some mighty raya, maybe a regular guy, maybe you could have hit him. We don't say that over there. Over there we say there's regular anhaga. Mechitesi, that your animals have protected by Hashem, that Hashem would deal with them like David HaMelech. Mashenkin over here, what? So it's a question. Over here, when it comes to the field, he can tell, the Balabais can tell the Chochir, no, my field would have been treated better by Hashem. Maybe, how do you know? What's the difference? Why over here can the owner say, I believe things would have been miraculous or half miraculously better, and here you don't say that? Answers the Gemara, because the shepherd can retort back to the owner, and I see some sarcasm in his tone. The shepherd can tell the owner, if you think that you're in the level that a nace could have happened to you, then you should have had a real miracle like Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa, the Matyan easy dubi bikarnayu. Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa had a fight, not a fight, Chalila. Neighbors were claiming that his sheep are grazing illegally and eating from their grass. Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa says, I'm sure they're not. And if I'm right, then my izim, my sheep, my goats are going to bring dubim, are going to bring bears on their horns. And so it happened. In other words, you believe that nisim can happen to you. That's why I left and I went to the bar. That's why I ran away. You're such a miracle guy, so why do you need me? You're claiming a miracle would happen to me, so you should have fought. For your miracle, you don't need me. yeah, then you can have some dubim, you can have some other miraculous things saving you against the lion, against the wolf. Agutataina. Frag the Gemara, no, why? The name Alei, why can't the Balabais respond to the Roya and say, although I'm not legible, I'm not deserving of a great miracle of the lion just flying in the air, the lion just moving away. That I'm not deserving of. Lenisa Zuta Chazina. Maybe a small miracle I do deserve, such as you fighting and managing. Oh, Kasha, it's a difficulty, which means, let's summarize. Over there, when it comes to small scale miracle, a balabais, over there, yeah, we say, cannot claim against, even that he cannot claim against the roya. Yeah, if the roya normally is a regular roya, a regular kid, a little small, tiny kid against the lion, it's not a normal thing you can fight him. It's a small miracle if you could. It's not a miracle like the bears with the horns and all that, but it's a small miracle. And even that, we don't say that he deserves, right? We don't say Balabais can tell the worker, hey, you should have stayed, you should have fought, and maybe Hashem would have worked a small miracle that you can scare him off. And no, we don't say that. So it's difficult. Over here, what did we say? The Balabais can tell the worker, everyone else's fields really were affected by the locust, by the wind, by everything. In your field, right in the middle, maybe your field would have got a better anhaga for me because I'm better than everybody else. It's a small miracle. And here we said that small miracle could have happened. Here we said it is a taina. It is a taina. Here Balbai says no. You were a defeatist right from the start. You were a loser right from the beginning, and you didn't try. No, you should have tried. Why? Because maybe to me Hashem would be nicer to me. Maybe I would have a better anhoga. What's the difference between this and the lion? That's what the Gemara asks as a question, and the Gemara remains in a question. I don't think it's exactly the same, but it's not the same because I think a lion against a person is still more than a miracle than one field getting better treatment from Hashem than the other field. But the Gemara doesn't relate to it. The Gemara, the way I understand the Gemara at least, remains in a question. I want to comment here that I don't think. Oh, obviously, we're not talking about the pikuach nefesh. No owner can tell the guy, the shepherd, I wanted to fight, down to your last drop of blood. We mean to say you can fight him. You can fight him within reason. That's l'chor the pshat. Tani chada. Now another question. Let's say so. Now we've established the balabais can tell the oris. We flipped the page. Still the same sugya. Okay, so now we've established Balabais can tell the Oris, listen, mister, no, you should have tried. Why didn't you try? You should have tried the first year of a drought. You should have tried to plant, to plow, right, to do stuff. And then what? And then if you wouldn't have worked, wouldn't have grown, then we'll talk. But you didn't even try. Maybe to me Hashem would be nicer and my field would be more successful. You didn't try, you got to pay. How many times can he push his luck? Let's say 1 year, the Oris, the Chochil tried, planted, nothing, like everybody else. Second year, nothing. Third year, nothing. How many years? Yeah. And every time, at some point, he says, I'm sorry, I'm throwing the towel, goodbye. I can't take this anymore. And I'm expected, not that I don't have to pay. One brisa says, one time, second time, he may zoiro, he has to sow the seeds. After twice, he's allowed already to be miyash and say, with all due respect to your interesting theory that Hashem would be nicer to you, Hashem is not nicer to you. We've seen it twice already. For the third time, I'm not going to plant again, and I'm still expected to not give you money from the bank for my savings. I don't have. The Tanya Idach, however, another brisa says shlishis doiro. He has to try 3 times. Everybody else, nothing's growing. And the balabais is all full of beams, don't be a defeatist, don't be a loser. Yeah, we can do it. Hashem loves us. I'm going to daven. I'm going to do it. Yeah, go there. You hit him. Yeah, first time, second time, third time he can do it. After 3 times, he's allowed to give up and say, it's very nice. He's so full of emunah and spirits. 3 times didn't work. The 4th time, I'm not going to try, and I'm not going to pay you either. So there's a steer in the brises. One brisa says he has to try twice. The other brisa says 3 times. And we all know the concept of chazaka. How many times is chazaka? 3. What's machloikis? And it says Gemara Lokashya. It's not difficult. No stira. No contradiction by the brises. Okay, Rebbe, okay, Reb Shimon Gamliel. One brayso follows Rebbe, one brayso follows Reb Shimon Gamliel. Okay, Rebbe Domer, betrei zimni avi chazaka. Mark this Gemara. Bava Metzia Kuf. It's also in Yevomis in other places. According to Rebbe, twice is chazaka. He talks about sakonis nefoshes, a woman whose two husbands died. Yeah, I mean one after the other. Yeah, just to make it clear. Yeah, she got married, the guy died, got married again, the guy died. We suspect something is wrong with her mazel or some disease or something. We say the third time she shouldn't get married. Goodbye. She's not marriage material. Yeah. If two husbands died, yeah, twice is already chazaka. Oh, the classical thing everybody knows is Reb Shimon Gamliel. He says three times. If three husband dies, one, two, three, then fourth wedding is already, the caterer should ask, is that your fourth wedding? Yeah. What? Right, the poison. In any event, yeah, so second or third is a machlokes. It's very simple. It's all the same concept. We all know that what? If we see, you claim, Mr. Owner, Hashem is kind to me, Hashem is good to me, I love Hashem and He loves me, I'm this, chosid, this, boydudus. It's all going to work out right. He's all full of emunah and full of beans. Nice. So then what? Then we go along with him until what? Until there's a chazaka that proves otherwise. If the chazaka is that X amount of times it didn't work, in spite of all your beautiful relationship with Hashem, then we say the chachir is allowed to give up and yet not have to pay you. How many times is chazaka? That's a side issue. That's machlokes Rebbe and Rashbag. Rebbe says twice and Rashbag says three times. And we continue. Omer Reish Lakish, lo shonu, another aspect of the same idea. Lo shonu, when do we say that the Oris at some point can say it's Makas Medina and I'm not going to pay you? Nobody else, the Chagav came and ate everybody's fields, including mine / yours. I'm not going to pay you. And he's right. Lo shonu, that is only true El Shazoro. He sowed the tzomcha, very nice, nice crops. The locust came, and ate up everything. Then we say what? He ate up his field and everyone else's field. He doesn't have to pay. Avozoro veloy tzomcha. He sowed. He planted. He said sowed right in the past. Yeah, he sowed and nothing grew. Just vaxnished. It didn't grow. It didn't grow. Then what do we do? And the Chochi wants to say, I tried once. When do you sow your seeds? In Cheshvan. That's a Gemara. That's why I know. Beginning of the winter, you sow the seed. Nothing's happening. Maybe the earth is not fertile this year. I don't know. So and nobody else is. Look around. All other farmers. We also doesn't happening. Let's do Yom Tefillah. But Divaila, it's a Makas Medina. I want to be paid. No, you're not going to be paid. Why? Matzi Omer lebala karka. The balakarka can tell the chochir, kol yemei zera zor lo ve'ozil. Excuse me, that's cheshvan. You should keep trying again and again and again all the days of the zera, as long as the season of sowing, the season of zroim, the season of the seeding, so to speak, is still around. Try again and again. Maybe cheshvan this year is not so good for whichever reason. It's hot, it's dry, it's I don't know the constellations, whatever. Try Kislev, try further on. The Ozil, the Ad Emas. Oh, now we come to a whole new story here. We're gonna come to an end soon. Up until when is the season of Zera? When is that? Yeah, what is the end of the Zera period, of the Zera season, when the Oris is allowed to already give up and say goodbye? I'm not trying anymore. Amar Pope, Ad Osu Arise Midabra, until the Arisim come from the field. The kaima kima arishayu. This needs a bit of a chart. I'll just tell you in general, and tomorrow we're going to explain it much better, B'ezras Hashem, with a chart. Basically, it's very simple. Until Adar. Adar is the time in which I'll tell you in short. Adar, the month of Adar, Purim. This year will be 2 Adars. Next year is Shana Muberes, is a leap year, Iber. So now, let's say in Adar is the end of the Zera season. Past Adar, you plant something in the ground, it's not going to work unless I know in cold countries it's different. I'm talking in Eretz Israel. Now, what did the Gemara say? The Gemara says Adar is the time of year in which Kima is the end of we're talking about the constellation, but the zodiac signs. Every month has its zodiac sign, of course. The zodiac sign of Nisan is Taleh. it's called Arius, I think, right? The sheep, yeah, Arius. So now the end of Arius is called Kima. There's a star called Kima. So now I'll do that tomorrow. Bekitzer, tomorrow I'm gonna draw a chart on the wall on the thing. But basically, when you at the end of the day, at the 10th hour of the day, that's when the Arisim come from the field. In the 10th hour of the day, you don't see that, but on top of your head, you have the star called Kima. It's just the way to describe the month of Odor. So basically, all the way up until Odor, you're supposed to try again and again and again to sow. And then if it didn't work, then then you don't have to pay me anything. But as long as you did your best. Okay, that will be continued tomorrow, Metzia Hashem, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Yofi. Hatzlacha bracha, and have a great day, a great week, and really let's get strong before Shoshana. Go.